Okay, we're back home charging the car. Probably done for the night unless I get some runs from the bar. But it was a good night. It's a little after 10. We did 4.5 hours, 181 bucks. Let's see, between DoorDash, Lyft, Spark 94, Lyft 44.19, DoorDash 43.25, $181 over 4.5 hours, right at 40 bucks an hour. What the heck was that guy bitching at me on my comments about it's impossible to make 40 bucks an hour? The hell was that guy's name? I always love people that just go bad on you because their mind can't wrap around, or you have some success that they can't have or something. Chico Juanito 2. Chico Juanito 2 right here. Chico Juanito 2. He's just lying. There's not a single gig tuber talking about $40 an hour. This one is, and I just did it. Yeah. So there you go, Chico Juanito.
Yes! Yes! Oh, yeah! Can you feel that, buddy? Huh? Huh? Huh?
I'm sure he's going to say I use camera tricks or something like that. I really didn't make the money that I made. I time-stamped it on the video. I took the photos. You saw when I started driving. You saw when I stopped driving. And we can go in. What's UberX? $17 for 35 miles? No. So let's go into my Spark app here. Chico Juanito. Let's go to my trips. Here's my trips. Chico Juanito. Why won't this phone focus? Guess you can't focus. I'll just screenshot them. Friday, November 14th. We'll go to Lyft. My Lyft app. I should show you so you don't think it's a screenshot. Can you see the 44.19 on Lyft? 44.19. Because Chico Juanito 2, I'm sure will come back with some reason that it's fake. It can't be possible. You can't do 40 bucks an hour. It's got to be fake. I can't do 40 bucks an hour, so therefore you can't do 40 bucks an hour. Okay, it's giving me my cash out balance. 44.19. I did this black ride, 44.19 at 8:26 p.m. I will screenshot this for the Chico Juanito 2s of the world that say everything is fake. Save to photos. UberX. $11 to go 22 miles. Oh, you got jokes, Uber. And then my DoorDash, surprisingly. DoorDash coming in slick. Okay, Friday, November. Why won't it focus on that? That's so weird. I'll screenshot that. My DoorDash. 2 offers. $34.25. I'll screenshot that. And then my last $9 offer is still active because I haven't shut DoorDash off yet, and it's still in that dash. Return to dash, and you can see the $9 is still sitting there. So Chico Juanito 2, you can add all of that up, door to door, back in my garage, 4.5 hours, and tell me what you get. I think you get 40 bucks an hour. So it's not only possible, but I just called it and did it. I do it every week. There's nothing special about what I just did. That's how I drive. I'm sorry that you can't do that and can't wrap your head around that can be done. Now, I also realize all areas are different. You may not live in an area where 40 bucks an hour is possible, or maybe you do. Maybe there's just a strategy that you can use that you haven't found. You got to go where the other drivers aren't. You got to zig when they're zagging, right? You can't just go sit in the fucking airport queue like every other driver and expect to get good rides. That's the lazy way. You can't be lazy. You got to outsmart the other drivers because you're competing with the other drivers. Sorry, you are. It's a competition. They're trying to make money. You're trying to make money. You're all trying to get the good orders, the good rides. You're in competition with each other. Beat them. Beat them.
That's how you're going to beat them, Butch. Keep underestimating.
Figure out what they're not doing, and you do that. Most of my drivers up here are lazy. They'll do one app. They'll sit in the parking lot for Walmart Spark. I see them there all the time. I don't sit in the parking lot for Walmart Spark. I'm doing Instacart. I'm doing DoorDash. I'm doing Uber Eats. I try to do all this stuff and stay in the area around Walmart, around where there's other stores, not just sitting there, but trying to do things and making money while I'm close enough to maybe get an order. That's how I got that $57 order today. I was a stacked order doing an Uber and a DoorDash, 13 miles for $9. No. What was I doing? Yeah, I was doing an Uber and a DoorDash, and then I canceled the Uber, right? Because again, I don't care about my acceptance rate on Uber. It was a $10 order or whatever. But that's how I do it. I don't go sit in there and hope I get that $57 order, because that might not ever come. And then what's your day look like if you don't get a good order? It looks like crap. I grabbed that 37, and while I was doing that, I had that opportunity to do that $44 black ride. Okay, fine, I'll grab it. I try to gamify this stuff. I'm always looking at how can I maximize my earnings? What can I do that makes the most money and makes me drive the least? Which is why I don't drive for Lyft and Uber people delivery that much anymore. I'll cherry pick a black ride here and there. But I figured out that there's a benefit to food delivery and grocery delivery in a couple of ways. One, the customers have to tip up front. Unlike rideshare, you just cross your fingers, and the tips suck these days. The tips have gone way down for everybody. Riders just aren't tipping as much as they used to. Just that. And with Lyft and Uber, you just have to take the ride and hope you get a tip. So you have to evaluate the ride just based on what Lyft and Uber are going to give you. Now, Lyft and Uber pay you more for rides than they pay you for grocery delivery and food delivery. Uber Eats versus Uber people, rides, X, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Some people look at it and go, oh, well, Uber Eats sucks because they only give you $2, $3. Their base pay is so low. Their base pay is higher with people delivery. Yes, it is. Because you have to evaluate the Uber ride based on the base pay alone. Uber Eats, you get to evaluate it. They have to pre-tip. It's not even a tip, really. A tip is something you do after. The Uber Eats tip is a bribe. It's like, hey, I really want my food. Here's $10. Okay, I'll go do it. $8.91. See, I'm getting all these Uber ride requests, and I don't know, there could be a $5 tip on it, but I don't know. But I know enough to know that 75% of those rides are not going to result in tips. They're just not anymore. 75% of the people that take Ubers don't tip. They used to. It used to be the other flipped. I used to get 25% of the people didn't tip me. I'd get 75% tips. Now I get like 25 or 30% tips. It's crazy. Sign of the times. But with food delivery, the miles are usually less from a store. I can stay in my area rather than some nature hike. Some guy wants to go 30 miles on an Uber ride or whatever. And I get to see the tip up front. So I get to evaluate the entire package. Rarely does the tip go down. It could, but it rarely does. I've had it happen to me maybe 2 or 3 times in the last 2 years. It's so little, I don't even consider it. But the tip can go up today. Extra $5. Oh, I forgot to add that in there. I forgot to add the $5. This was Walmart. So it was better than $40 an hour. Chico Juanito too. Forgot to add my cash tip. Go put that in there. Nobody can make $40 an hour. Nobody's talking about that. You can't be possible. You can't do that. Yeah, you've been miserable when you do the DoorDash stuff. You can't make $40 an hour. It's impossible. Nobody can do that. No, you're a liar. You're a liar. You can't do that. Can't do that stuff. He's just lying. He's just lying. Chico Juanito 2. Expand your mind. Expand your mind. Change your attitude. And you might make more money. $99 on Spark. Boom. Maybe I should send this to Chico Juanito 2. So what is that? 185? Let's see, Chico Juanito 2. We made 185 in 4.5 hours. 185 divided by 4.5. Chico Juanito 2. Chico Juanito. Oh, it's not possible to make that $40 an hour. You can't do that. You can't make $40 an hour. No, it's not possible. No. You're just a liar. You're just a liar trying to sucker people in. I'm not selling a course, Chico. I'm just doing videos, helping people figure out how to make extra money. No, you're just like all those other gurus. You're just trying to lie to people, trying to get their hopes up, trying to lie to them. You can't do it. Game, set, match, bro. Not only can I do it, I called it and I did it. So back to what I was saying about the food delivery, though. You have less variables in the food delivery because you get the tip up front, so you can make better choices on what you're going to do. Lyft and Uber just got you kind of evaluate how much you're paying. Like this one, they want me to go 20 miles for $14.21. No. And it takes me 14 miles away from my house, right? And it's like, well, I did a Walmart Spark that took me 12 miles away from my house. Yeah, I did. But you know what I got for that? $57. If Uber popped up right now and gave me a ride that was 12 miles away from my house for $57, I would do it. But when they pop it up and take me 12 miles, this one was 14 miles away from my house for $13, no, I'm not going to do it, because what are the chances I'm going to get a ride back? And how long would I have to wait to get that ride back? Right? So either I'm going to have to drive down in an area that I'm not as familiar with, and I don't want to. I like to stay up in my area. So if I'm going to do that, then I have to drive back 14 miles. So now Uber's saying, hey, here's $13. Go take a guy 14 miles and then drive 14 miles back. That's 28 miles. Cross your fingers, he's going to give you a tip. But if he doesn't, and 70 to 75% of the time he won't, you're going to get $13 to now drive 28 miles. Now, we have to set aside 50 cents a mile because our car has fuel expense, car's wear and tear, you got to get tires, you got future repairs because some things are going to break. You got depreciation on the car, you got insurance. This is a business. This business, moving this vehicle down the road has a cost. Everybody has a different cost. I say just use 50 cents a mile. It's a good even number. You can do it in your head while you're evaluating. And if your car is more efficient than the 50 cents a mile, and it probably is, then you're just building yourself a little bit of a buffer for the rainy day fund. Or if you don't ever need to use it because you don't ever have that big repair, if you have been doing it, you'll have money for either a new car when your car dies where you just pay cash, or a hefty down payment. So if you want to be profitable, you want to run this as a business, you need to evaluate every ride and every order, subtracting 50 cents a mile in your head. You should really physically do it at the end of the week. Whatever miles you drove, you get your checks, you get your money deposited, and you should move it over. And I know you all freak out, but like, I don't make enough money. I can't afford to do that. It's kind of my point. You're taking rides that aren't profitable. If you can't afford to take 50 cents a mile, now, I'm not saying take 50 cents a mile and just save it, right? You take the 50 cents a mile into an account, and from that account, you pay for your gas. You pay for your car repairs. You can pay your car payment if you want, your insurance. Any cost associated with your car gets paid with that 50 cents a mile. So I'm not saying you have to save 50 cents and then still also eat your actual expenses, right? You take 50 cents a mile, and then anytime the car needs something, it comes out of that fund. So if your transmission goes out, you have the money to fix it. Because guess what? If your transmission goes out, you can't go out and drive for extra money to fix the transmission because car's broken, right? Don't wait till your transmission goes out. DoorDash, $6, 4.7 miles. No. Although I'm pretty hungry and it's Taco Bell, but no, not doing it. Right? If you do not set aside money, you are just waiting for your car to break. And then if you don't have an actual job, if your job is gig work, which I hope it's not, and if it is, I implore you to take steps now to transition out of full-time gig work as fast as you can. Go get a job, get some health insurance, get some stability, and then go do this stuff part-time for extra money. Overall, you'll make more money. You will make more money if you go get a decent job, especially if you got a job with benefits. You factor that in, so you're not having to shell out $1,000 a month for health insurance or whatever the hell it is for you, especially if you have a family. Go get a job with benefits, health insurance, preferably a 401k, and then go do this stuff part-time. Imagine if you just go get a job that pays you $1,000 a week and it has benefits. And then after you clock out, then you go drive. Preferably when it's busier, dinner time, evenings. And now you're not driving as much. But if you can go get a job where you're taking home, because that's the big thing, taking home. If you're making $3,000 a month on gig work, subtract that 50 cents a mile, tell me how much you got. Because all you're doing is sucking equity out of your car if you're not setting aside money. So if you're making $3,000 a month and you're gigging it full time, you ask yourself how much you're setting aside, and my guess is zero. My guess is you're barely paying the gas, you're barely paying the insurance, you got no extra savings after that. Everything's spent because you're only making $3,000 a month. So what are you going to do? Ask yourself this. If you're a full-time gig worker, you wake up tomorrow and your car doesn't start. What are you going to do? What are you going to do if you wake up tomorrow and your car doesn't start? If you had a job, what the normal person with a job would do is probably go, oh shit, and probably take an Uber to work, right? If your work is gig work, you can't take an Uber to work, and you cannot work if your car doesn't start, and you don't have the money to fix it. Talk about a rock and a hard place. Not only do you not have the money to fix it in the moment, you no longer have the tool that you need to even try to make the money to fix it. You're screwed. You are screwed. Go get a job. Go get a job that pays $1,000 a week, $800 a week. I don't care. Hopefully has some benefits. And then go do this part-time. Make an extra $500 on the weekend. Now you got your $1,000 a week job and your $500 on the weekend, and you got health insurance and maybe a 401k. And now instead of struggling to make $3,000 or $3,500 and have nothing left over, and if your car goes, you're screwed, now you're making $6,000 because you're making $4,000 a month at a job and you're making $500 a week doing this part-time gig work, and you can maximize your hourly return because you're only doing it part-time. You don't need to be out there 15 hours a day. Lyft's been sending me shit the whole time. Comfort, $26, 35 miles. Is this the kind of shit you guys take? But imagine if I was an Uber driver and that was all I did. And I had no other job. I had no other way to make money. This is why I would go, oh, I got to take that, right? Even if I knew it sucked, I'd still have to take it because I need the actual money. And I know a lot of you guys feel like that. And that's why you take these crappy rides, because you're stuck. You're trying to do this crap full time. It's not full-time work. You have no control over it. You have huge expenses, and you're letting Uber and Lyft take advantage of you. That's why they throw out these shitty low offers, because they know there's desperate people out there that will take it, even if the miles don't make sense. If you keep doing Uber and it's not working, you're not making enough money, you need to do something else. You need to do another app. You need to do multiple apps. You need to keep trying different things until you have enough money to set aside and cover at least your car expenses. And if no matter what you do or what you try, you can't make enough money to meet your needs doing gig work, then please get the hell out of gig work and get a job. And then come back to gig work for extra. So there you go, Chico Juanito 2, $41 an hour tonight on film. And in the immortal words of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Can you feel that, buddy? Huh?